Welcome to the Metal Prognosis. My name is Lee, and we are on the third video on my EP recording, video blog series that we're doing. And today we are talking about bass. So I've got my bass ready to rock here, and we're going to run into a couple of different things. So like all my videos, they're going to have timestamps here. So jump to wherever you need to go because you need to get what's best for you out of these videos. So it's going to be a bit of a jam. We're going to talk about some VST plugins because my friend suggested I check out the Duality EX by Audio Assault. So we're definitely going to check that. I'm going to show my Darkglass Neural DSP plugin as well to compare the two, just to see the different characteristics that what I'm used to and something new that's been introduced to me. And I had a little bit of a tinkling on how to actually record it and how to best put it together. So we're going to have a bit of a chat about that as well. So cue the cute little cartoon intro, and then let's start having some fun. So before we hop on the computer, I just want to have a quick nerdy chat with you about different gear and setting stuff up beforehand, so the behind the curtains type of stuff that isn't as sexy, but is extremely important. So I was thinking the best way on how to approach this with the bass. So firstly, there are two different ways to record bass. You can hook it up to an amp, mic it up, chuck that straight in your mixing desk, and be done. That's it. And you do a little bit of fixing, a little bit of tweaking afterwards, but pretty much the majority of it is what you capture is what you get. We're taking a different path of this video, and we're going in raw and dry, and then adding virtual instruments and virtual cabinets and pedals to really help, well, pretty much give us analysis paralysis on all the different awesome options and different things out there that we can have. So I thought this was going to be pretty simple and easy until I saw, I think his name's Christian Cole, one of his videos, which I'll leave in the description below because it's amazing, where he talks about, with guitars, but I figure it's going to be the same with bass, different DI boxes that give out different results based on the word that I can't actually remember at the moment because I'm having a bad stuttering day. Impedance, I think it is pronounced. So I've got my DI box here. Let's see if you can, if it focuses so you can see. Very cool DI box. But this has two different outs to it. So it's got one in and two outs. A parallel out and a balance out using an XLR cable. So what I thought was, kind of messed with my mind a bit as I was overthinking this, the best way on how to do this and approach it is I'm gonna have to do it all to see the different results. So we've got two different options here, but there's also a third option, or technically another two more, which is going directly into my mixing console or directly into my audio interface. So what I thought is, I'm gonna need more splits to go off. So I got my loopy pedal. Let's see if that focuses. I hope for this, because I'm covering my face and can't see, which is a really cool splitter. So one up the top there, and then I can't really point with two fingers there, and two outs there. So here's a picture, a screenshot of the results I got, and I couldn't actually tell the difference between them. Not frequency-wise, not volume-wise, not quality-wise. So this is a really good, just gives you a straight-up copy, just a carbon copy of it. Here is your identical twin, off you go. So I had this running, and I thought, all right, let's chuck one going into my desk, the other one going in here, which gives us another two outputs. And to my surprise, it was crazy. So what we're gonna do is gonna set this up quickly now, run through this so I can show you the results, because running it through an XLR and the 3.25 inch outputs had a very, very interesting result. So let me move the cameras around a bit quickly, set this all up, and we'll run through it. Now I've got everything set up. Here are the two different tracks we have. We have one coming in left, this one's coming in the right, so it's got them panned hard, and we have the DI, the 1/4 inch, and the DI with the XLR. So let's just play along a bit there, and you can see the difference between them. So, There is a huge difference between them. That is huge. So if I just turn the monitoring off this one, and then we swap them around. Massive, massive difference. So there are a little bit of, like just a slight peak. Stop that. Maybe a little peak there. Close enough where it's like, that's pushing it a little bit. But you know, I can just turn it down just a tad. But the main thing is that is some really nice signal coming through dry compared to the weaker one coming in. Now we're using a VST plugin, so you can boost it, you can enhance it, but still, I like the fact that there is a huge difference in the input there, in the amount of body that you're getting out of the sound, with not much hiss rocking through there either. So that's really good, because if I just do this, solo this, and we play just leading into the hiss, I'm super fussy. I would edit that out just because I'm super fussy. But if you didn't, you're not going to hear it. Drums, guitar, vocals, everything's pumping, everything's rocking. You're not going to hear that. I can't actually hear it just playing it back by itself, let alone if there's a full band mix behind it. So the fact that there is just that little bit there is pretty awesome. Where the hell is it here? There we go. Yeah, it's amazing, like, yeah, near to no sound. So that's pretty awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue on and just use this DI here, not needing to worry about this one at the moment because I can't see a need to have two different separate ones at the moment. I could be wrong. Someone might prove me differently, but yeah. So I'm going to just have a quick jam in front of you so you can actually see it. At the start of the song, playing along with just the scratch tracks of drums and guitar. So there for another video for us to delve into deeper to try improve and get better. And then we'll go through the different VST plugins, the two different ones, have a bit of compare and just a bit of a chat about it. So let me reset things up again and have a quick jam. So now I've had to listen to the jam, which I will confess was a little bit of a challenge to do because it didn't have much of an impact, the sound, and I couldn't hear it as full and as dynamic as what I normally like to when I'm performing with anything, any instrument. So I'm kind of doing it semi-backwards because normally you come up with the sound first and then record to it. But let's see how many notes I did or didn't get, because there's a couple of notes that I wasn't quite sure if they actually came out smoothly. Now this is just for this video because I'll be re-recording everything for this anyway. So let's have a look at, I've set it up here. No, I haven't. I've set it up down here. So firstly, let's look at the Duality EX, which is very cool. So what I can do is, because we're going to want this later anyway, I'll bring up the EQ, just have it down there so we can see it as we go along as well. So we have, I turn on the noise gate. So firstly, let's listen to it by itself, on and off, so we can get a little bit of a taste. I'll move it a little bit, set that up there. Much bigger, lot more punchier and better. So let me put it in the mix for you. So night and day. So let's have a quick look through on how I came up with this sound with the little bit of time I did muck around with it. So I've used Duality, their previous one, but I never used this updated EX version. And the EX version is very different, but I like it. So firstly, I put on a gate there. So the little noise that we spoke about earlier, this just cuts it straight off. So I don't even need to edit it because it's gonna do all the work for me. I gotta push pretty high, which it doesn't need to be, but it works, so it's all good. Then I got the distortion pedal because I love a bit of grunt and a bit of aggression in my bass tone, so we added that. So let's have a look here. High, low passes, pre and I think that's pre and post. Drive is set at 0.05 and that does make a big difference. So for example, let's just solo this and play. And I'll turn this on and off and you'll hear. So even with it off and just having the amp and cab aspects involved, it still does give it a lot more body, but having this drive on just really punches it in the right place. Then we move on to the amp. Amp, I pushed a hell of a lot more bass, nearly cranked it full. Took, very rare for me, took out some mids, and I think that's just to counterbalance this EQ that I had there because I added a little bit of mids. So just to kind of find that nice balance between the two. Yeah, added a bit more treble just to give it that little bit more of a string sound. Took out, added a bit more gain because I think originally it just starts straight on noon. So it would be at 5, value 5, and I'll push it to 6.7. They got a lot of really cool, my stuttering's really bad, I apologize about that today. Very cool, like preset EQ things you got here too, which is really rad. I just felt like I didn't need them because what I did here and mucked around was plenty. I didn't have the mix at full 100 in just this, so I pulled it back a bit, so I've got a nice blend of what was coming in naturally with the pedal and with this as well. So yeah, then moved on to the actual cab. Now this comes with a fair few different, well here are all its cabs here that come, all different mic, settings it has here, which is huge. And they've got, I think, 3 or 4 different preset things, but I use my, my friend's Nick Leonard's IR bass things that he kindly gave me. He's got 3 different ones and they just work out amazingly with this whole setup and configuration. So let's just run through his, I think I got Colossal on. I normally use Immortal, but I think with this I use Colossal. But this interface doesn't tell me, so I can't remember. So I'm gonna have to flick through all of them and let's see if we can find out together. Sounds like Colossal because nothing changed when it went on Colossal. But to give you an example of how much it can change with just my friend Nick Leonard's cabs here. if we go back to their cabs, that one's pretty rad. You can hear that, just that string rawness of how hard you're actually playing with that, which I really like. Why did that drop out when I unsoloed that? What's going on? Yeah, so the one I chose just has a little bit more of a low-end dynamic oomph and big lift in the tone. Now we've got it cranked a little bit higher than normal because we're concentrating on bass and we really want to highlight that. But yeah, that is a good example of, oh, and I've got effects running through. What have I got? I got a limiter, which full credit to Audio Assault for that, for actually adding a limiter. I think it's such an overlooked, God, I can't get the word out, tool to use in any form of sound that you're working with. So just to have compression is good, and you can mix compression to have a one-to-one ratio to act like a limiter, but to actually just have a straight limiter is awesome. So yeah, absolutely. If I owned a hat, I'd put on a hat just so I could tip it off to him, because that is a really, really good aspect to put in there. So now let's listen to the difference. I'll swing between this and the Darkglass. So the Darkglass, make sure I turn one off before I turn the next one on. Come in here. And no, you either get big or, oh no, get a decent one there for the screen grab. Cool. So this is the sound that we've got running with the Darkglass. Let me solo it. So there is a gate on here. It's not pushed as hard as the other one, but yeah, you can hear those little niggly things and all that that hasn't been implemented in this VST compared to the last one, where that gate worked amazingly. So yeah, definitely not, shitting down on this because I just haven't said it yet. I just want to do a quick comparison for the purpose of discussion, and that's exactly what we're doing now. So let me put it in and out, and then I'll swap between the two and we can have a talk about it. But first off the bat, it does sound like it's got a lot more grit to it, but it's missing some dynamics. So where's the balance? Where do you want to put it? Where do you want to do it? Let's just get stuck into it. To start. Do the same again with solo. So let me just have a look at you here and then do my fancy editing thing where I take up the full screen for some final thoughts on that. So both are very cool, both have their strengths, and there's not really weaknesses, it's more strengths and different tastes, I think is the best way to put it. Now that's just to do purely with the settings that I got there, so there is room to delve in more and all the rest of it, but as a starting foundation to work off, to see out of these two, which would you like as a foundation, and then start putting your building blocks on top to build from. What are your thoughts on that? Is a Darkglass and how I like to push the distortion there too much fuzz and too much static type of a distortion compared to the Audio Assault one, the Duality, where it's got a little bit more cleaner dynamics, but nowhere near as much bite and grit to it. So definitely keen for your thoughts to see what inputs and thoughts you have on the matter. And also any other suggestions and thoughts that you have in regards to bass with this project that I'm working on as well. So thank you very much for joining me in this video. I think for a little bit I had the wrong EQ channel thing rocked up there, so I did it near the end. So at least we got to see the EQ graph comparisons there, because that made a huge difference to visually see it. Yeah, there's lots of fun putting together and seeing how it does, and seeing the Duality EX too, because that is very powerful. I think it's, from what I remember, with the original Duality, the EX is a huge step up, a very, very big step up. So yeah, that's awesome to check out. So I really appreciate that suggestion. That was very cool. And I thoroughly look forward to hearing your comments and thoughts, and either advice or things that you've learned that you want to share and all that as well. And I thoroughly look forward to chatting with you next time. And until then, stay safe.